Hi, my name's Adria and I work at a startup. Once, if you're the best programmer in the world, but you don't know it because you're not giving yourself the chance. I want to talk about the learn to code movement. I mean, it applies to everyone. You don't have to want to be a full-time developer or engineer. No matter what your job, business development, design, marketing, you can benefit from knowing how to code because it's a different way of thinking. And you'll have better communication with other people in your company. Obviously, cross-functional training is pretty much a good thing. So I moved to San Francisco 2 years ago, and I said, I'm so excited. I'm going to learn to program. Got a book, Chris Pine's book. I grew up in the Midwest, and there weren't any women programmers, but I could see from afar, and I had read in books and magazines that I knew they were out there. I knew they were in San Francisco. So I got here and I did a Ruby on Rails outreach workshop. Didn't really understand what I was doing in the workshop, but I knew that I should be there. What I realized though is even though I have a really strong background in network administration, IT, and hardware, most of that was not transferable except for maybe DNS. I wanted to program. I wanted to build things. I wanted to be like Picasso, but on the keyboard. And I had friends who knew how to program, but I never knew anyone who was learning to program. So I kind of felt behind. I always felt kind of embarrassed by it, right? Well, working at the company I work at, which is SendGrid, they have a culture of us being happy and us being hungry for knowledge and for success, but yet humble. And I took it upon myself then to say, you know what, I really feel this is the right time for me to learn Ruby on Rails. Of course, I did end up with a couple more books on Ruby, but I also said to them, you know what, my learning style has changed. Well, in the past, I've learned a lot of technology through hands-on and reading. Now, what's important to me is working with other people because I had been to meetups, I had gone to user groups, I had done some hackathons. I did the outreach workshop for women and I liked it. So last week, they sent me to a boot camp, 2 days of Ruby, 5 days of Rails in Atlanta. And the most valuable aspect of it was being able to talk to the instructor and the other students. So last night, I held a SF developer advocate meetup, and one of the guys there, he's in business development, and he turned to me as I was talking about, the programming that I'm learning and stuff, and he's like, "Can you help me learn?" And I was just like blown away. And so I want to definitely make this video and let you guys know that I want to speak on helping people gain new skills or change career paths and how to make it okay for them and for their company. And you may see behind me there, yes, that's Gabby Douglas because she gave herself the chance. She told her mom, I want to go to Iowa. I want to train with this trainer. I know this is the right thing to do. And she won the gold. So I feel very inspired. The other night when I was speaking at the Women Who Code event, I was talking about the Learn to Code movement. And I only got about halfway before my 5 minutes ran out. I was talking about the tools you should use. I was talking about the fear of success, the fear of failure. So another thing I talked about is having mentors and surrounding yourself with people who are on that same path. And I got done. People came up and they said, Adria, that was great. And then this woman came over. And this blows me away, but this woman came over and she was saying, hey, you did a really great job. And I was like, oh, sort of deflecting it. I was like, oh, well, thanks. I didn't really have slides and, I didn't really prepare because I didn't, know if they had selected my presentation, but thanks. And she's like, well, it seemed really good. And like, you knew what you were talking about. And we talked a little bit more and I said, hey, what's your name? She said, Sarah. I was like, nice to meet you. And I said, what's your last name? Right? And she said, May. And I said, oh my God, you're the Sarah who started the Ruby on Rails outreach workshop. The workshop I took 2 years ago. The workshop I just took again this spring. The woman who I emailed as one of the several people I asked who were experienced developers, who had done training, who do live demos. And I said, what should I do to take the next step in learning Rails? And you answered me. And I said, I'm here because of you. And so it was like a really awesome moment to know that people who have been in this industry for a while, take the time to contribute back. And I thought one day I want to be Sarah. I want to be that person who has that knowledge. I make sure I come back to these meetups and I come back to these events to provide that support, that visibility, and that mentorship. That's what I want to talk about. picking up new skills, understanding your learning style, and then focusing on learning to code. In fact, Jimmy, who works at Zappos, told me to get this book, Designed for Hackers, because even people who write code, need to get better at stuff. So I'm Adria. I'd love to speak at the conference in December. I'm located here in San Francisco. Thanks.